Welcome back to another episode of DriveCast. I'm Dom.
Hey everybody, you know who I am.
This is Josh.
We gotta introduce. They obviously know who I am.
By now, they probably do.
Anyway,
Unfortunately.
go ahead.
So I have a question for you. That's where I want to start.
I have an answer for you. Go ahead.
I'm sure you do. Who the hell buys a Corvette in January?
It's funny you say that.
The answer is...
An idiot.
Yeah, the answer is you.
Yes, I did.
Why?
The deal was on. I could not beat the deal on the car. That's why I buy anything.
Right.
Yeah, I bought a C5 Corvette. It is a base model Vette in pewter. It is an automatic, which is kind of disgusting. And the more I look into it, the harder it is to 6-speed swap the thing.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I'm not really too worried about it. I got the car just to enjoy, and even it being automatic, it's going to be fun to take to the track and drive in the summer. So I got it because the deal came up on it, so couldn't pass it up. And I do want to do autocross and stuff in a rear-wheel drive car. This one just came up to do everything I want to do in the summer, and then also track the thing in the spring. So
honestly, it's going to be a good car.
it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun car. It's not going to be a good car. It's going to be a fun car.
Do you want to tell the people of the world how much you actually paid for this car?
No, I don't.
Why not?
I don't want to tell anyone anything.
Well, it's kind of what we're going to be getting into this episode.
Well, they can
with.
do that without talking about this.
I guess so. Well,
Anyway.
I mean, that's the point.
I paid. Well, so here's the deal.
You pay... here, I'll say it for you. Is that okay?
No.
Okay.
I don't want you to say it.
I was just going to say, you spent thousands of dollars less on this car
Than usually what it was worth.
than what they're normally going
Yes.
for.
And the reason for that is because the car has been heavily tracked.
Yeah, it's definitely a toy.
It's a toy. As you know, I'm not one to buy vehicles that are showroom condition
Oh, I know, bud.
because I don't keep cars in showroom condition. It's just not something I do. I like to beat the crap out of everything I own, but at the same time maintain it to keep it reliable enough.
I mean, you're the
like-
king of the shit boxes.
I am the king of the shit boxes on my shit box throne.
Yeah, your throne made up of blown short blocks.
Blown short box, 240 floor pans, and broken splitters.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's like kind of how my shit. Yeah, it's like it's all broken shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up getting the C5 Corvette, and I cannot wait. It's a coupe. It's not a convertible. And
Well, it's a Targa.
It's a Targa, yeah, but it's considered a coupe.
Aren't they all? Other than the actual soft top convertibles?
I believe that's correct. They're considered a coupe other than the convertible. But at the same time, they have a different top, though.
That statement sounds kind of redundant.
I mean, yes.
So if it's not a convertible, it is a coupe, even though you could still remove the roof, is what we're saying.
Yes, that's what it's considered a coupe because it has like the longer window than the convertible does. Because the convertible obviously goes like back into the back there where the roof of it ends in the coupe version. But you can still take the top off.
Yeah.
It's very redundant. It's very weird the way they labeled them.
I mean, Targa tops are the best.
I like it because it's a hard top that flips off pretty much.
Yeah. Dude, Targa tops reign supreme when it comes to removable roofs.
That's actually one of the defining factors that made me want to get a Del Sol.
Yeah.
I
can
want one
see that.
so bad because of that reason.
Well, now you got an old man's Del Sol.
I have an adult Del Sol.
Right.
Correct.
No, it's an old man's Del Sol.
No, it's not, dude. It's not an old man's car.
Dude, we're going to insert the stereotype of Corvette owners here. Insert Corvette meme.
This is my first time I've ever bought a sports car that is clean titled, barely.
Clean enough.
Fucking barely.
You're right.
And not a Subaru.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
This is the first time I've ever bought a sports car
I see what you're
that
saying.
is not a Subaru.
And is also a clean title.
Also a clean title road vehicle.
Because you've had sports cars that are not Subarus with the dirtiest titles.
Yeah.
Dirty titles.
Dude, that... Oh,
Dirty.
All right, so quick side quest.
Are we talking about the Z?
Talk about the Z.
We did talk about the Z on the first season.
I found out that the Z was wrecked twice. Mine was the third. Mine was going to be the third reconstruction of that car.
God.
Yeah, it was wrecked once in the front, then it was wrecked once in the rear, and then mine was considered like a side impact.
Oh God.
Dude, that car had that car, and it sucks because now that car's worth $5,000 wrecked.
Dude, that's
and
insane.
I sold it for $3,500 to a friend.
That's insane.
And it was terrible, like nuts.
The values of sports cars are just
To the moon, dude.
are skyrocketing right now, and it doesn't even really matter what exactly it is.
Brand doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Wheel drive doesn't matter. Drivetrain doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's a sports car and a limited number something, or one of their performance packages, you're paying more money now than you were 4 or 5 months ago.
100%. 100%. Because I've been looking for what I should do next here. I've been looking at what car I should have.
We are already getting into this. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, here's the plan. Let me give you the plan, and
All right,
then
let's hear it.
then we'll get into this a little bit. So the plan is to sell the Jeep. Like I said, whoever wants it. Even the values on those have
But those have gone up too.
exactly. Mine's worth $15,000. So
Yeah.
if anybody wants to make me a fair offer, 14.5, somewhere around there,
I like
I'll
how
take it.
modestly you're like, I might say 45.
right, I might take 14.5. I don't know,
Yeah,
like
your-
$1,400.
Your brain is flat like everyone else.
Right.
Flat.
Your brain
Flat.
is flat.
Your brain is flat. Your brain is smooth, just like anyone that's going to buy that thing.
Yeah, that was a big smooth brain move.
Yeah, it was super smooth brain.
Super smooth brain. But
Anyway,
the values on those are even going up. So, I mean, knowing my luck, I'm gonna get rid of it for like $2,000, and then in 4 months,
no, it's gonna get T-boned, and then
I would rather
you're
it
gonna
get-
lose money on it somehow from the insurance company.
At this point, I would rather it get T-boned just so I can take the check and run than I would sit on it for weeks and negotiate with smooth brains on Facebook Marketplace.
Smooth all day. If we
So
get lucky,
smooth.
If we get lucky, the people next door will be working on the house, and the house will just fall on it. They might get
Praying.
They might get the wagon too.
I'm praying.
Oh, can you imagine that falling over? Just...
Dude, I know
Cool, bro.
I know we live in northeastern Pennsylvania, but I'm praying for a tornado to pick this thing up and
Toss it.
throw it 2 area
Fucking-
codes away.
Huh!
Just yeet, throw
Yeet.
it 2 area codes away, and never be found again.
2 area codes. That would be
I don't-
music.
That's zip codes.
That's it.
Yeah, that's zip codes.
Zip codes. Hang
Yeah.
on. Area codes would be you'd be in New York
Yeah, just toss it.
or you'd be in Maryland.
Get it out of here. I don't want to
'Cause
see it anymore.
I think Philadelphia is 1 away from us.
I think so.
215. And then you're yeeting it down to Maryland. That's a far travel.
Get it out of here.
All right.
So my
I just want
plan
you to
is
understand like how far you threw this thing.
I want it gone. So here's my plan: to get rid of the Jeep. I don't want to see it anymore. I don't want it. I have no true like love for this thing. You know what I mean? I want it gone. So
It's kind of sad. You talked it up so much.
it was an
It's kinda-
impulse buy.
Yeah, but it's sad because you talked it up and now you're ditching it.
Yeah. I put work into it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's yeah. I mean, that's what happens. You know what I mean? It was an impulse buy. I wanted something. I wanted a 4-wheel drive, and that just happened to be around. I just picked it up.
I'm gonna get you a little Buddy McHurdison.
A what?
Little Buddy McHurdison.
Buddy McCurdy's.
Yeah, you're gonna get a little Buddy McHurdison this episode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you the legacy.
Oh God.
Go ahead, continue. Sorry.
So all right. Wow, I'm losing my place here. So
Don't if I can't
get rid,
process thoughts.
Yeah. dude. I got one ridge in my brain, and it's just over. It's overheating right
That's
now.
like the one highway. It's
Yeah.
like 18 lanes.
It's just
and it's
18.
all in one direction.
Yeah, but there's no lines,
Yeah,
so it's just all over the place.
dude.
All right, so traffic's going anywhere it wants to up inside my head right now. So I want to get rid of the Jeep, and then when the lease is up on my SI, I want to get some sort of nice, larger daily,
You want
like a
summer
4-wheel
car.
drive
You want
for
like
something.
a summer car. Oh no, that's right. You want
Yeah, like a 4Runner or a truck or something.
Hold on.
What?
I said 4Runner idea,
It was a good idea.
but you never gave me credit for it till just now.
So
and then
Josh-
you try to blow it off.
So I was thinking once the lease is up on the Civic, then I'll go get like a new truck of some sort. And you suggested not to get a truck and get something like a 4Runner or something like that. It was a great idea, Josh. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's all you gotta say.
Yeah. Thank you,
Take
man.
it off as your own.
I appreciate it.
Go ahead.
It's a good idea. So something like that. And then the cash that I get from the Jeep, put that into a summer car. Just something cheap. You know what I mean? A cheap, fun car to drive in the summer.
Dude, I am so happy she doesn't listen to these.
You right?
That's all I'm gonna say. No one knows what I'm talking about, but you and I do.
We need to consolidate the cars a little bit.
What do you mean?
Or Kristen's gonna get really mad.
Why? She has one sitting out there beach too.
Yeah, she does. She does. It's just
Dude, at
super hypocritical.
Hold on. At one point, she owned more cars than any of the men in the house.
She absolutely did.
She did.
She 100% did. She does not want to admit it.
She did, and she really didn't notice it until I brought it up one day. I go, Kristen, can you I said something. I was like, Kristen, can you move the tracker? She's like, oh shit, I still own that.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, it's right outside. And she's like, well, let me move the Civic. I'm like, well, that's right over there. And she's like, well, I parked the Kia over there. I'm like, that's over there.
Yeah, at one point I had one. You had one at the time.
I had one at the time.
Here.
Yeah. Dude, I did have one at the time.
You
I had the truck.
Yeah, you had the truck. I had the SI. Ben had 3, and Kristen had 3.
Yeah, and then Kristen was left because Ben got rid of the Forester before she got rid of the tracker.
Yeah, so she had 3, you had 1, I had 1, Ben had 2. And she had the most cars beached on this street out of any of us. And
Dude,
she has the audacity to yell at
call
us
us out
about our car buying habits.
Dude, her eyes, when I said I was getting the vet, her eyes almost rolled into the back of her head so quick she almost had an aneurysm.
Dude, she started foaming at the mouth.
She was like, another one? I'm like,
yeah.
You mean the same amount of ones you had?
Exactly. All right, so,
anyway,
oh my God.
I'm sorry, dude.
We are
I just had to bring it up because I know this was a big conversation we had in the house, and that's kind of one of the things. And that brings us to something I want to talk about after this, but go ahead. Let's continue on. Let's talk about some car values. About some car values.
Yes, that's exactly what I was getting to after the side quest that we just took here. So I have been looking for inexpensive summer cars to drive, fun sports cars or whatever. You
started looking.
I started looking, yeah.
I never stopped.
Right. Yeah. So you would know just as much as the people we're always on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist looking around, seeing what's out there. And it's ridiculous.
More time on Facebook Marketplace than anyone else I know. And I have people...
You probably do,
dude,
yeah.
I have friends asking me to keep an eye out for stuff. Or if someone comes to me, be like, yo, hey, I'm looking for this. Oh, yeah, so-and-so has it. And it's worked a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So...
Do you get finder's fees? Do you get commissions off that?
It matters who it is. If I really don't know you that much, and you're like, hey, man, if you know someone looking for this or whatever, yeah, man, cool, I'll send the guy your way, whatever it is. But if you were asking me to sell something, I'm getting a percentage. Unless you're one of the inner circle. If you're part of the inner circle.
If you find a good buyer for the Jeep, I will give you a commission.
No, I don't want it. You're part of the inner. You're part of the inner circle.
All right, well, we're getting off track again.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so.
Man, you're killing me, dude.
So here I am thinking that I could find something great for $4,000. Something that could even be a little bit of a classic. You know what I mean? Something that's fun. Yeah, even older than that, maybe 80s, early 90s. And it is ridiculous, the market right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like we said at the beginning, throughout the entire spectrum, the whole board, newer sports cars, older sports cars, classics, anything in between.
Anything doesn't matter what it is, man.
Exactly. Anything
even modified utilitarian vehicles.
Yeah, off-roaders.
Off-roaders, any type of hobby car.
Anything that has an ounce of fun in it when you're driving it. The values are just shooting up right now.
Or trucks in general.
Trucks are huge right now.
Commuter cars have gone down, though.
That's because there's so many of them.
There's so many of them.
And I think that's why...
Market's goofy.
It is. I think, like you said, there's so many commuter cars and normal cars out there on the market right now. I think that's why sports cars are going up, because there's obviously not as many of them.
Think about this.
Obvious statement.
So I have some educated opinions. So I haven't confirmed anything.
Oh God, incoming.
So yeah, I have some educated opinions on why this is happening.
Okay.
So currently everyone's working from home, right?
Right.
Less people are commuting to work. A lot of people are finding out that working from home is more feasible to do at their job and actually some companies are starting to prefer that because it's less cost of bringing someone into an office. They can do the job at home just fine. A lot of people are doing their jobs and not having a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're doing their job and they're getting what they need done and then, going on with their day.
Yeah, the office time is definitely limited.
The office time is definitely limited. I get that. But you're still, as long as you get your work done, it doesn't matter. Productivity is not really, if the company is able to work remotely, productivity actually isn't a problem.
Right.
It's more physical trades and stuff that are having problems with bringing people in, but at the same time, they're usually essential. But you have those people that aren't driving to these offices anymore, these people that aren't commuting anymore. They're not looking to buy commuter cars.
They can get something fun.
To get something fun.
Yeah.
Or, obviously, we're getting stimulus money, which everyone can have their own opinion. I don't care what it is, but we're getting that money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people that get the money are thinking that it's not going to be used for what the government thinks they want us to spend it on.
Probably not.
They're spending it on fireworks.
Right. as everybody's probably
fireworks.
Heard. Yeah, as everybody's probably heard in
all day long in July.
In one of our episodes last season.
It was daylight outside. There was birds chirping and shit, and then fireworks go off.
Dude, the amount of fireworks that people bought with that first $1,200 or whatever,
like ridiculous.
Oh my god.
But anyway, so as I was saying, people are getting these checks from the government and getting this financial support. They've nest egged that. Some people have made kind of these companies work by having people work from home or this and that. Industries are still kind of moving, even though it's not like they used to be before the pandemic happened.
Not at all, yeah.
So, but the government gave us a lot of money for that. A lot of people were off. They weren't working. They were thinking about doing this. Their businesses and people are trying to buy work trucks. Like you said, trucks. Trucks are a big thing. People are trying to buy trucks right now.
Gas prices are also relatively low, at least here.
But less people are driving. Again, less people are using it. There's less supply, less demand. It's going to be lower.
Right.
There's more supply still because they're still producing it. We're just using less of it right now.
Yeah.
So again, I have no education on this, but from what I've just seen, I think that's where we're at. I have a feeling this is why it's happening.
I mean, anecdotally, it
makes sense.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that. I can absolutely agree with that. I have another theory as to why.
People are like trying to start their own little side businesses and stuff like that too. You need a truck. So these trucks, and plus the plant closed down. I believe GM's plant closed down for a little while.
Pretty much every plant closed down for a while.
I knew GM's did, and that's why there was a big push for used trucks because they only had used trucks. They didn't have new trucks.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that and now if everybody here doesn't know, I'm working for Mitsubishi now.
Yeah.
And there's, other than the Outlander Sport and the Mirage, there are no other 2021s coming in.
Yeah,
because the plant was shut down for so long.
Yeah, so they still have stock. They still have stock.
Oh yeah.
Nate was saying that today. They still have stock.
We're still getting 2020s shipped in, and it is 2021.
It's 2021. Yeah. You cannot get rid of all of them because no one's really buying commuter cars right now.
Right. So I have a theory as to why as well.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I think this is just the beginning of this rise. Obviously, EVs are starting to take over, not the market itself, but they're starting to take over buyers' minds. They're actually being considered now. When you walk into a car dealership, somebody actually sits down and thinks, maybe I should get an EV.
Well, they're being more affordable now.
They are getting more affordable, and they're getting much more practical and usable, you know, in daily life. Ranges have gone up from 60 miles up to 300.
I remember they still had to piggyback off hybrid systems because they couldn't make it home.
Yeah, that's
Chevy Volt.
Yeah, that was a regenerative hybrid. That stuff is still out there. I think it's a great idea when it comes to that. But the rise in EVs, I feel like, is kind of scaring us car guys a little bit. I am, personally. We'll get into that, but I think it's scaring us a little bit. So now we're all trying to go out there. We're trying to get these, enjoyable, internal combustion sports cars that may not be around for all that much longer. In the grand scheme of things, they're probably not going to be around for all that much longer.
I don't think they won't be around for that much longer. It's the ability and access to get them the way we have had in the past will no longer be there. But at the same time, the electronic vehicles, EVs, I'm for it. Like, I've seen the EVs, I've seen the way they perform. I'm all about it.
It's a 50-50.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want to still have that option to have an internal combustion car. That's why I have my old stuff. Now, this is where I'm scared. I'm scared about how the market's going to affect petrol cars. I said petrol, not gasoline. Petrol cars, because the parts.
We are an international podcast.
We are an international podcast. But the parts markets and the maintenance market and stuff like that for them, I'm kind of nervous on that's going to go. That's more of my concern, because you're going to get to a point where, hey man, they're not even making combustion engines anymore. These are no longer supported at the factory. And don't get me wrong, there's companies that are going to manufacture these, but the more rare the vehicle is, the harder it is to find parts as it is.
Yeah, I mean that goes for a lot of cars now,
Yeah.
like defunct brands like Suzuki's and
Yeah.
Pontiacs and
They're gone,
Saturns and stuff like that. I mean it's, luckily a few of those brands were, sister cars of other brands you could still find.
Pontiac got
but-
lucky. Pontiac got lucky because a lot of GM products were interchangeable inside of the Pontiacs when they got
100%.
older.
Yeah.
So like the 6.0 that was in the LS1 that was in the
GTOs.
GTOs.
Yeah.
The LS, what was it? In the G8 GTs. It's a 6.0. I don't know what it was. I forget.
Is that an LS2?
I don't think it's an LS2. I forget what it is.
I'm probably going to cut this part out. I don't want to be this embarrassed about
Really?
about
don't
our
care.
lack of knowledge for LS engines.
Anyway, I'm new. So they do this. There's this thing in the market I feel is going to happen where we're not going to get that support for the rare kooky cars that are out there. And you're seeing this happen with like minis and weird stuff that like US didn't get. You're always going to have LS platform support.
Absolutely.
You're always going to have Subaru platform support. You're always going to have Evo platform support. You're always going to have Dodge platform support. Like, I'm not afraid of that. I'm afraid of the weird cars that we're no longer going to see, that they're not going to support anymore.
The underappreciated and the obscure stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're going to really start to lose stuff, and that's where the big money's going to come into play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, cool. You had, like, I know we just talked about this, and I do not like them, but you had a probe. Cool, you have a probe.
Right.
There's probably some weird group of guys that like probes.
Oh, there are
And-
guys that like
exactly.
probes. Yeah.
Yeah. And that group of guys that likes the probe is going to love it so much and hoard all these parts, they're going to be sitting on $1 million worth of probe parts.
Right.
Like, it's crazy. I never would have thought it would maybe go this way, but that's at a very, like, way out there possibility. But
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, but getting back to what we were talking about, like, how does that affect the actual
Market of a car.
how does that affect the market of a car? You know what I mean?
We're not talking about parts. We're talking about car values, full functional turnkey cars.
Yes, absolutely. Because
Turnkey cars.
turnkey cars.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Or a little bit of a gray area there.
Yeah, there's a gray area there with a turnkey car is.
Right. But
I think I sold my first turnkey car this year.
right.
And that was like, there's no if, ands, buts, what it does. You turn the key, you drive the car. And this car that was sold to a gentleman in Vermont was a cherry. It was perfect. And that's why the market came in our favor, because we got it beforehand, fixed what we needed to fix, and then found out the details after the fact of why it was worth that much. But
Right.
Go ahead. I'll tell that story.
Well, let's just take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll be right back and we'll continue talking about
Okay.
this. All right.
So, I have a question for you.
Okay.
As we're talking about cars and this and that, what has been some vehicles that you have seen recently that have skyrocketed in value? Because I have a couple, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, first one that comes to mind is the S2000.
Oh, yes, it has. 100%.
It's been going up pretty steadily over the past almost
But
10 years at this point.
If you look at the graph, though, like if I were to make a graph on the prices on them, I could still get some for between 7 and 8. I cannot find one at all right now for that price.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even the 200,000 mile ones.
Still 10 grand.
Yeah, the Suzuka Blue ones, which is
Blue on 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 blue.
yeah, yeah, that many blues.
I hate that color
Yeah.
so much.
I like the blue interior, but the exterior isn't
I-
that appealing.
There's no break in contrast.
Yeah,
Everything is blue except for the start button. I
almost bought
swear
one.
to God.
yeah.
It's okay though. Like I would buy one too.
At
It's
this
like
point, you
buying
almost have to.
It's like buying a fucking pewter C5.
Right.
I didn't buy the car because I liked the way it looked.
Right.
I bought the car because I want to beat the shit out of it.
Right.
Like, that's the thing about that car. Like, man, it's such an ugly color, but at the same time, it's what I need to get my thrills of what I want out of it.
I mean,
awesome.
That's exactly it. But at the same time, when you're spending that kind of money on a vehicle,
that's where you start to get picky.
yeah, you're going to start to want what you want. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You're going to start to want the color and the mileage and everything that you want.
That's kind of where they even out.
Right. But now, like, you go to buy a modified one, you know, tastefully
Even
modified.
more money.
It's $25,000 to $30,000.
Crazy. And don't get me wrong, cars are beautiful. I just don't think they're worth that much.
I don't think they're worth that much. Not yet. You know, give it another 20 years when
20
they become a
years, Dom. 20 years.
when they become a classic. That's when I could justify spending upwards of
They came out in
$30,000.
1999.
Exactly.
It's been 22 years.
Oh wait, yeah, it has.
It's been 22 years, Dom.
That's actually that is something that I was going to talk about a little bit earlier. Can I, if I can get to that really quick?
Okay, go ahead.
I feel like my head is still in 2010,
Me too. I know what you're saying.
where I look at a car from 1998. You know, C5s, for example, which you have a really hard time finding for under $10,000
Yeah.
if they're what you want, if they're a 6-speed, if they're
Yeah.
in a good color, if they're clean, anything like that. You have a hard time finding them for under
Very,
$10,000 these days. I still look at the C5 from 1997 when it first came out, and
I
I'm
still
like,
think it's 10 years old.
yeah, exactly. I still think it's 10 years old, you know?
Dude, my insurance agent the other day was like, man, you have like 3 vehicles that are almost 20 years old.
Right.
I'm like,
You're like, oh, God.
oh my God,
Yeah.
you're right. You know, like we're looking at the numbers. He's like, yeah, C5s, I got a 2002 WRX. I'm like, wow, you're right.
Right.
I'm like, these are almost as old as I am.
And it's crazy because it just doesn't feel like that to us.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. When I look at a car from 2005, you know what I mean? It doesn't appear to me that it would be either a low production car or it would have low numbers or
Is that
it would
is it us? Maybe
from the
it's
the
not the market.
stories.
Maybe it's us.
No, the market is ridiculous.
Are you sure? Maybe it's us.
No, 100%. The market
Well,
is
I
absolutely
guarantee
ridiculous.
it's the market too. But anyway,
So
ahead of
I
us.
found an MR2. It was a 1997 MR2.
Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a nice one.
Exactly. That
'Cause
thing
that's
was
the-
$13,000. It was like
They used to be
$12,600.
like $2,000.
Yeah, like, well, you could still get a first gen MR2 for less
Dude,
expensive.
I saw like second gens going for like $2,000-$3,000 a couple of years ago.
They are upwards of
They went
5,000
up and
across
up
the
and
board
up
now.
in price.
FCRX7s is another one.
SCs have gone up because of the drifting culture.
The drift tax has been added hard to that stuff.
Any 240 you can't touch for under $5,000.
Yeah, I mean, 240s have had a really strange market for a long time now.
Well, they're solidified as a top selling car now.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird though because 240s actually, as of recently, have kind of been replaced as the main go-to in the past couple of years.
By 350Zs
In BMWs.
and BMWs, yes, E36s.
Three something I's.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever I it is.
328s.
328.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those have all kind of replaced that. I see a lot of dudes clubbing those cars.
yeah. Well, that's because a few years ago they were dirt cheap.
Exactly. And they found out they could weld the diff and slide.
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
waiting for the next car to come out that they can do that.
now,
I think it's going to be the 1990s, early 2000s Mustang.
yes. Well, you're already seeing that. We're already
Yeah.
seeing
My
that.
buddy
on
AJ's
these
got
cars.
one.
Yeah, we're already seeing
He's actually
that.
selling his.
The Mustangs, start to go up.
bodies.
Yeah, because to drift a Mustang, you don't really need to do all that much to it. It's already got a 4.6 or a 5.0.
I think it's got
and a
LSD already,
5-speed.
too.
Maybe I don't know too much about those
I think they got
Mustangs,
LSDs
honestly.
now. Anyway.
But it's ridiculous. Even those Mustangs, the early 2000s Mustangs that I have a particular soft spot for, are getting hard to find for under $5,000 these days. That's like, for me personally, $5,000 is the difference between a cheap fun car and a moderate to expensive. That
yeah.
$5,000 is the make or break point.
Yeah, I think you're there.
When you find something for $5,500 or $6,000, that could kind of go either way. But if it's under $5,000, I mean, you're not going to have any. Yeah, it's a total gamble these days. There are a few cars that I wanted to mention that are still under that $5,000 mark. You can still find for under that $5,000 mark that are still, appealing to me personally.
Yeah.
Because they're a little bit classic and they're, I think, good looking and they're fun to drive. Because they're two cars that I actually have in my mind for my next vehicle here.
I got a list of 5 too as well, but go ahead.
Okay, one is the E30, the E30 BMW 325.
I seen that recently. They have, like you're saying, they have kind of plateaued.
They are
Which is
still
weird.
very affordable. Yeah, you can still get them for the $2,000 to $3,000 mark.
Mm.
Obviously, they're going to need work.
Yeah,
Because they're BMWs.
true.
B, they're old BMWs.
Well, that's the thing. They're old BMWs,
And 90% of the E30s out there, they're all going to say that they've done 86,000 miles, when in reality they've done 320,000 because the odometers broke back in 1995.
junked.
Another one is the Mitsubishi Starion /
What?
Chrysler Conquest.
Is that a minivan?
No.
What is that?
You don't know what the Starion is or the
No idea,
Conquest?
dude.
So, in the 80s,
That's the problem. Oh, I know exactly what this is.
Yeah.
It looks kind of like a Porsche.
it's got some sort of...
what are they called?
944.
944-ish looking Porsche.
Yeah, it's got a boxy 944-ish type look to it, yes.
Yeah.
I love them. I think they are quintessentially 80s with the styling and even just the formula that they were built with. A nice, smaller, straight six, manual rear drive. You can get them with louvers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think they haven't held up styling-wise well, but recently I've become obsessed with 80s cars. Which brings me to number 3, the 300ZX.
Oh, yeah.
Not the Z32, the one prior to that.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what the chassis code is off the top of my head, but those are still affordable. They've been affordable for a long time.
They always kind of have. Well, they're maintenance monsters.
Yeah,
So that's why they are what they are.
mostly because a lot of them are junk,
A lot of them are drunk.
and the ones that aren't that are still affordable are NA or naturally aspirated. You're not gonna be able to get a clean twin turbo 300ZX for under $8,000.
You're probably better off importing one than you are actually going in and buying a USDM one.
right.
So I think you're one left, right? 5.
Well, I wasn't even naming top 5. I was just going
Oh,
with ones off the
is that
top
your
of my
list?
head. I don't know. I
Oh.
guess these are just ones that I've been looking
Yeah.
at that kind of appeal a little bit because they are affordable, and like I said, I've been obsessed with 80s cars, and
Yeah.
you could still have some fun with them. There's really, at least from what I've been searching, there's really not that much else out there. E36 M3s, anything with an M badge on it,
Skyrocketed.
yeah, is way up right now. Anything with an M badge.
Anything with an M badge. So I got some quick ones.
Okay.
3000 GT and Stealths are still low. The non-VR4 Dodge Stealth and
3000 GT.
3000 GT, I believe, have not really budged that much. Boxsters have not gone up in value tremendously.
I feel like Boxsters are incredibly underrated as vehicles these
Well,
days.
I'll get to that. I think they are because as getting into like track driving stuff more. I've gone last year a couple times, and I want to do it more this year. A lot of guys go to Boxsters for their first car. I understand why, fully now.
Yeah.
And don't make fun of it because like they put some stickers on those things and run the car, and the thing just gets beat up all day long. It does not talk back. It's great.
I think we're going to actually offer some good buyer advice in this episode.
We are.
Okay.
So
Boxster is a good one.
Boxster's a good one. I've been looking into like any Mark IV Volkswagen is still cheap.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
it's junk.
They're junk. I'm not a huge fan of the Mark IV.
I mean,
I like the Mark III. I like Mark II. I'm not a huge fan of the Mark IV stuff because it got super, super cheap.
yeah, the Mark IV is the only really good one. Volkswagen fanboys are probably
Yeah.
going to come here and burn the house down after this, but
You know who's gonna come.
you're right. Yeah, he's got a Mark V.
Yeah.
But the only good Mark IV was the R32. The other ones are just fat and slow and half-assed.
Last one on my list: Eclipse GSX, GSTs, and just normal second-gen Eclipses.
I mean, and now how affordable are you talking?
Well, here's the problem with those though. I have seen so many of those GXX, GXTs, and just normal second-gen Eclipses so fucking clapped.
Oh, they are so beat.
Bad, dude. They made every body kit and their brother for that thing. And if you start looking into Eclipses on second gen Eclipses, I know only one person that has a second gen Eclipse that it's tasteful, and it's colored after.
Okay, continue.
I only know of one good example left of the second gen Eclipse, and it's a friend of mine that has it, and the color is actually after a BMW, and the car is beautiful.
What color was it painted?
It's not. I'd have to ask him about the color, but it's that gold yellow color the M4s came in.
Yeah.
Phoenix, is it Phoenix yellow?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's that like color. It's very nice. That's like probably the last tasteful one I've seen in years.
The tasteful ones are pretty few and far between.
They're hard to
days.
find.
Yeah.
They're hard to get, and I think he has 2 of them now. I think he has 2 still. But anyway, it's like they're just either garage queens or you don't see them anymore. Anything Honda's still kind of low too.
I don't know, man.
Older Hondas like Integras and stuff like that are still like relatively cheap, but there's so many that have been destroyed and ruined that you really can't bring them back.
And with those in particular, in this area, you do have trouble with rot.
Oh, badly.
So that is another one that I was actually looking at. I was going to try and find a true EM1 SI. You know,
Best of luck to you.
Not just some EK coupe that's been, converted. Like a true EM1 SI, which are the rarest of the more modern SIs. Now, the only one that I found in our area was $6,500, 220,000 miles on it.
Yeah, they're all beat up still.
I mean, it wasn't beat up. I'll say that, but it was still $6,500
high mileage
for a 21-year-old car with over 200,000 miles on it, even though it is still a true SI. It's
if you're afraid of resale value, it's not the car for you. If you want to keep the thing forever, who the fuck cares? I keep things forever or get them so dirt cheap I don't care about mileage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That again, mileage isn't all that much to worry about, but
maintenance, yeah.
I feel like a lot of these values are going up too because of that sort of collector factor.
Extremely.
Like we said before, we're getting older. I'm still looking at 2000 like it was a few years ago. So cars from around there are actually becoming collectible, very desirable because they're turning into sort of modern classics. You talked about in the first episode the Terminator Cobra, 03, 04 Terminator
Off the
Cobra.
Roof right now.
$20,000 plus
Crazy.
for those things.
They used to be like $10,000.
A little closer to the mic.
It used to be like $10,000.
Yeah,
now they're through the roof.
Even LT1 and LS1 Catfish Camaros.
LT1s are that expensive?
LT1s, a clean manual LT1 Camaro is north of $6,000-$7,000 these days.
Yo, I actually saw an LS Camaro the other day, for like $5,000, but the body was rotten on it, and that's still high.
Yeah, I can't remember seeing a Camaro rot out really.
It was
pewter. Ugh.
Pewter color's terrible.
Pewter, more like
puker.
puker.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Trans Ams you can't find anymore.
No, they're gone. IROCs are gone. Can't find a clean IROC anywhere.
Miatas are at that point now too, where they're either completely.
Miatas are crazy.
Well, the clean ones are expensive. You know?
I hope he's listening. I told him. So my buddy sold his Miata recently. His girlfriend's Miata. Buddy sold his girlfriend's Miata recently, right? Right when everything started to spike.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got in a week. You got exactly what he was asking for it.
Yeah,
crazy.
He got it right at the beginning. Yeah. I'll even say with the RSX that I had, I sold it for less than $3,000. Now, if I held on to it until now,
$5,000 car.
It would have been a $5,000 car.
And you might not think $2,000's a lot, but in the scheme of buying cars and trends, that's a lot.
$2,000?
$2,000's a lot in the schemes of buying. Like $2,000 in the grand scheme of thing is not a lot of money.
Right.
But in the buying and selling in the car industry, a $2,000 jump in performance cars is a lot.
A $2,000 jump, yeah.
Is a lot. That's what I'm saying. No. I'm like, yeah, $2,000's. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like $2,000 in the performance car market, where it's between where it was a year ago and now. That's huge.
It's sickening.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to go up. Like for reasons that we mentioned earlier, it's going to continue to go up because, EVs are going to become more mainstream than they are now. Internal combustion engines are going to start dwindling. You know what I mean? The production of them is going to get smaller and smaller, and then our favorite cars from the 90s are going to be $50,000, $60,000 plus, and not just Supras. And that's actually another one I wanted to talk about quick. I personally, you can hate me if you want, I don't think Supras are worth $60,000, $70,000.
I don't either. It's a nostalgia car.
Yeah.
Dude, they're selling $30,000 auto right-hand drive NA Supras.
Well, yeah, you said $30,000. But, I mean, that's...
Yeah, I don't know what you just did there.
Yeah.
The valley is full.
I had a brain
The valley is full.
A lot of traffic going on up there.
But that's what I mean. Like, you're spending $30,000 on a non-turbo Supra.
A non-turbo automatic, yeah.
Automatic. You used to be able to get turbo stick vehicles, manual transmission vehicles, for that much money about 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them being around $40,000. 40-ish.
60 G's they want.
Yeah, 60, 70, 80,000 plus for Supras. Skylines are going to be no different. R32s are pretty affordable in the grand scheme of things.
Here's the big
R32
thing,
GTS-T, that's going to be like
still a lot of money. It's still
like
$10,000.
Yeah, it's going to be still about a $10,000 car.
So
for a car that we never got here, that's pretty
I was going to get
good.
at. Let's talk about that for a second. We never got the GTR here until 2008.
Right.
I would think they want a premium on those. Japanese Supras actually are worth less than USDM Supras in the American market.
Now, that has something to do with the modification of them, though.
No. It's just USDM original cars are worth more than Japanese imports.
Now, I knew the Integra, the Integra Type R was like that because the numbers were so much lower than they were for the Japanese Type Rs. Now, I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, internet, YouTube fact checkers.
RX-7s too.
FTs are nuts.
No, I'm just saying, like, that, dude, anything that comes from Japan and is imported is worth less than a USDM car. I don't know what the full reason is, but it's a trend that I've seen over and over and over again, where the USDM original right-hand or left-hand drive vehicles are worth more than right-hand drive imported vehicles.
I don't know, maybe to some people,
but the GTR, because we never got it, so obviously there's no option.
What I was just about to say, people could fact check me if they want. I could be wrong. Now, I heard through the grapevine that right-hand drive Supras are less desirable than left-hand drive Supras because when building these, when making these big turbo builds, it's better to have, all of the equipment that is on the right, it's better to have it all on the left because of the build that you do. The way things are, the way things are run and the way lines and hoses are and everything are
I'd
run
have to fact
on that
check
side.
that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I heard that it's because of that left-hand drive Supras are actually more desirable than right-hand drive Supras.
Yeah.
Now, I think the whole right-hand drive craze is going to start kind of dying off here. Not dying off, but it's going to plateau a little bit because
it was cool until everybody got it.
Well, that's the thing. For a while now, cool Japanese and European cars have been able to be imported to the U.S.
Yes.
For several years now.
Since 1990.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about
I'm
the
saying,
ones...
since 1990 models started coming over.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I saw the big import craze, because we finally got, 5 years ago we got the R33, R32?
Yeah, the R32,
that was a big thing.
We just got the R33. Thing. So, I mean, yeah, there's going to be some that are going to still be desirable, but I feel like the right-hand drive craze that in the U.S. is going to start to plateau a little bit just because we've had them over here for a while. It doesn't make it any less cool. It doesn't make it any less fun.
No,
I would love to drive a right-hand drive car. I never have gotten the chance to yet. I'd love to drive a right-hand drive car.
Me too.
But
I've been in them, I've never driven one.
Yeah.
Wait. Correct, I've been in them, I've never driven one.
It's an odd sensation over here, man.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Everyone
hopping in the passenger seat on the side that you normally drive on.
Yeah, it's really weird when you're in the car and you're looking over at the driver.
Yeah, it is. It's a weird sensation.
What car was I in?
Anyway,
it happened though.
You could even see that a lot of the JDM cars that were imported 6, 7, up to 10 years ago, the values on those are starting to go down a little bit.
Yeah, they're getting older and the newer stuff's coming in that people want. A generational change, that's all it is.
Yeah, there's hope yet. at this point. But
Yeah.
there was some
Sell 'em
other.
while they're hot.
There was a bunch of other cars that I had in my head where the values on them are still sky high that in my opinion, really shouldn't be.
STIs, Evos, any older muscle car that was big back in the day. Everything.
What do you mean, like classics?
Yeah, like Chevelles, old Challengers, old Chargers, like all that stuff's gone up in value because again, that generation's ready to buy.
Yeah. There's some quirky cars from the 60s and 70s that you could still buy for a little.
Evos are untouchable for under $15,000.
Yeah, but that's not a quirky car.
I know. I'm just saying, quirky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not quirky. I was talking about
Sorry,
little,
I forgot you meant quirky.
Yeah, like quirky little odd classics from the 70s that nobody really liked then, but are starting to like now. But yeah, no, you're right. You cannot get any true Evos for under 15 grand. At all.
Even 10s went up in price.
Exactly. 10s, again, I still look at a 10 and I'm like, this thing is relatively new. No wonder it's $35,000.
It's 12 years old.
And then, yeah, exactly. Then you start to think and you're like, wait, this is a 10 to 12-year-old car with 150,000 miles on it. Why are people asking so much for these things?
Nissan did that to us. Nissan did that to us real good. Because what Nissan did was they made the GTR, the R35, and they changed the body ever so slightly for us not to notice until you get up very close to them.
I don't consider it an R35, but continue.
Well, the Skyline.
Right.
The GTR.
Yeah, it's not a Skyline.
What do you want to call it, dude? I don't know. I don't care. So anyway.
It's not a Skyline.
The 08 to present GTR
yes.
has not had a major exterior change since it came out. I'm okay with that because you can't fix perfection. But at the same,
I still resent this car a little bit from our episode.
I love this car.
I resent it a little bit from our episode last season.
I will have a GTR. I guarantee I'm either getting an M2 or a GTR. I don't know what one I want.
Well, I'm touching on the GTR. I saw an 09 GTR for sale. For what I thought, in my head, I pictured this as being inexpensive.
45 or 50,000.
It was like $46,000.
Yeah, that's about what they're at right now with higher mileage, and they still are only around 50, 60.
Which, seeing GTR and then a 4 next to it for 40,000.
Weird, isn't it?
It's weird. It feels inexpensive.
But you put that next to the 2020, and you're like, wow, it's really not too crazy different.
It's not. But then again, you have to remember that this car
12-year-old car
is a 12-year-old car.
Yes.
That was, I'm not calling it over-engineered, but we know how it goes with used cars and that were engineered to perfection on the showroom floor. We know how they are at 70,000 miles.
This one was.
We know how they are at 70,000 miles, man.
Dude, they're still kicking hard.
I look at this thing and I'm like, that's a $50,000 car that
makes 600 horsepower.
And
it came out.
Yeah, that has made 70,000 miles of 600 horsepower.
That's the big thing with these cars that drives the value to stay so stagnant and across the line. Like the line on the graph is so straight for these cars that is descending real slowly because you can put 600 horsepower down from 2008 till today. It's nuts.
I don't know. It's I hate to be that guy where look, it's a 12-year-old car with 70,000. Why am I paying $50,000? There are some cars out there like that. Personally, I would have no problem buying a $45,000 GTR if I could afford one.
At all.
If I could afford one right now, 100% I would.
I would love it.
Yeah, I would rather
put the damn thing.
That, and I would rather buy a $45,000 GTR than a $45,000 brand new pickup truck.
Exactly, and that's another thing too. The pickup truck market is out the fucking wazoo.
Dude, I was pricing these things out. I was doing build and price online, having a grand old time with it.
Yeah, we popped your bubble real quick.
Yeah. It was a slap in the face.
Hurts.
Hard. And it hurt, yeah.
Now you know what I did 2 years ago.
Right.
And I said, this is stupid. I'm going to buy a used one.
Yeah.
So
I was
we'll talk about that in a second, but continue.
I was putting together the packages that I wanted. Nothing too crazy. You know what I mean? When I looked at an F-150, I didn't go for the limited. Went for the FX4. When I did the Ram, I didn't, I didn't go for the limited.
Yeah.
I went for
the mid-grade kind of
the
thing.
Bighorn.
Yeah.
You know, with the sport appearance package.
That gives you a center console too.
Yeah, I mean, even left the 18-inch wheels on there. I didn't even put the 20s on there.
With the audio dial that puts you into reverse.
Yeah. When you turn up the volume, it puts you into drive.
Reverse.
Yeah, you're like, let's turn up the volume and click it into drive. And
Yeah,
exactly. So
you're driving, you put it in reverse.
Anyway, they were all $50,000. These are $50,000 vehicles.
Yeah, $50 pickup truck. Well,
I would have to look up and see how much, new like Challenger Scat Packs are going for.
They're a lot of money.
Or Mustang GTs.
Everything's expensive, man. It doesn't matter what. Anything with a badge on it that's performance is money.
But if you're going out and buying a brand new vehicle, would it be more worth it to buy that $50,000 Mustang or the $50,000 F-150? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Or you could be like us, and then you can go buy, a $50,000 Supra.
Yeah. So,
something.
The $50,000 Supra actually is a very good idea because those things are killing it right now.
They're gonna keep going up too. They're gonna keep going up.
Killing it right now. They're making so much power on stock motors. Every day I see them. New record, Supra. I was like, holy shit.
It's
BMW makes a good car. BMW makes a great car.
Yeah. Been sitting here rambling on about how these sports cars shouldn't be as expensive as they are because we want to buy them and we want them now.
But we're just as bad as the problem why they're so high.
I'm a car guy and I want it now.
Yeah, exactly. Have you been in an accident recently? You want a new car? I want it now.
It's my MR2 and I need it now.
I need it now.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, we're just feeding the fire of it because everyone's, like I said, I have my opinions on why everyone's buying right now, but I think we give it a year or two, it's going to come back down to a plateau. We'll be okay. Dude, prime example.
In this economy? Yeah, you're probably right.
Dude, prime example.
Well, actually, in this economy, I think everything we're going to be sitting here be like, wow, why is this, 1999 BMW 540i $60,000?
And I'm going to be like, damn, dude, I don't know, but I know that 2008 GTR is $350,000.
Inflation.
Yeah.
Anyway. This isn't a political podcast.
No, there's no.
We're not getting into
that now. But that's what I'm. Dude, prime example, man. I'm gonna use it right now. I bought my truck for $29,500. It had 19,000 miles on it when I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
It now has 40,000 miles on it. At one point in time, I was thinking about trading my vehicle in because it had depreciated $1,000 in 2 years.
Right.
That's insane.
So buying one of these older cars, fun cars, whatever it might be, mid-engine, front engine, rear engine, front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, whatever, it's going to start to become an appreciating asset. You're going to buy it and you're going to make money on it. You're going to continue to make money on it as long as you keep it in
good shape and not destroy
decent condition. You know what I mean? If you modify it tastefully, it's going to start going up in value. So these are investments more than they are just buying cars.
But that's anything that is old and someone wants and is limited and you can have in good condition.
I just want a cheap old sports car back, man. That's all
I
want.
Well, you better do it soon because you know what? You don't have much time left.
I know. That's all I want, dude. It's just a good cheap old sports car. Go out and buy an IS300 for $1,500 and thrash on it for a while and then get rid of it and then go find a friggin' MR2 and have fun with that for a few years and then work my way up and get something more expensive, stuff like that. Yeah. But that stuff doesn't exist anymore.
Dude, everyone wants to bust balls about the market when you post something for sale. Everyone wants to bust you. Everyone's like, no way, how are these worth this much, blah, 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 right? Cool, man. You don't know dick about shit.
You don't know dick about shit.
You don't know dick about shit. Cool, dude, you don't know dick about shit. Because guess what? It's actually already pending.
Yeah, remember...
you know what I mean?
Remember before we started the season how we were going to try and use less profanity?
I don't care anymore.
Watch your profanity. Yeah, who cares? Who gives a fuck?
But that's the thing, though. Everyone's saying, man, no way is it this. We acknowledge it's that expensive. We know it's expensive. We know what the market value is. And we accept the market value. Me and you get that.
Yeah.
It's just that we don't want to agree with it.
Yes, I know that this is how it is, but I just do not want it to be this way.
But that's like when you post a thing for sale. I was going to post a wagon for sale for $6,000. And someone's going to come up to me and go, oh, my God, no way, you're going to get $6,000 for that wagon. Cool, man. It's already probably pending.
Yeah.
Like, I have people already interested in the car. I ain't even posted for sale yet.
Exactly.
Like, it's wild when people start like, no, what is it worth that much? I'm like, I don't give a shit what you're saying, what's going on. If the market trends are what they are, I'm going to cash out.
Dude, the part that irks me the most about that is when you see a car and somebody's listing it for a very fair price.
Yes.
They're listing it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
And then you get, you see it on the marketplace. People put the laughing reacts up there, and they're like, what kind of drugs you smoking? What kind of crack are you on? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Dude, if you don't like the price, offer something. Like, dude, but that's like, when I posted that blue STI that I was helping sell, that car, laugh react, no way, blah, you got low ball offers, stuff like that, right?
It was gone so quickly.
Dude, it was gone in a week.
Yeah.
And I got just exactly what I was asking for it. Like, and the kid's super happy with it because it's a great car. Car came from Alabama. Dude, it checked every single box on that car was checked. Lower mileage. Engine was checked over by a professional shop. Transmission rear diff fluid was changed. Clutch was replaced. Everything was done timing-wise to the vehicle. Pump was replaced. Oil pump was replaced. Like, all that shit. Alabama, Southern car. Like,
all the stuff that nobody's going to want to do when they're buying.
Exactly.
When they're buying that, yeah.
Exactly. So that's why you get the money you're getting for them.
But the
still wild, though.
Yeah, I mean, the craziest part about this, I think we'll kind of just, like, wrap it up on this note.
Yeah, we'll wrap it on this one.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up on this note here. The craziest part about all of this, the reason that the market is the way it is right now is because of us.
Yes. We are, I will say this right to the camera, we are the problem.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this, you're also probably the problem.
These cars wouldn't be this expensive if we
didn't want them.
If we weren't willing to pay for them.
We didn't want them, and we weren't willing to pay for it, they wouldn't be this high.
Exactly.
We're the ones setting the market.
We are. We're the consumers. Dude, we're the ones buying.
I'm telling you right now that you're going to see it go up a little bit more, and then it's going to crash one day. It's just going to go down real hard.
Yeah.
And things are going to get cheap again. So
if
you're holding something that you want to sell, I think now is the time. It's going to peak, and then on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, people have been saying that for years, though, And then cars that
yeah, but they didn't jump $2,000 over a year.
Well, I mean, no, but I mean, there's cars that people sold, 15 years ago, selling their Supras and stuff because they're like, oh, I'm getting a great deal on this. You know what I mean? I'm going to be able to sell this for twice what I bought it for.
But we're not seeing it for like Supras or clean cars like that. We're seeing it for shit boxes.
Right. That's the worst part.
That's the worst part. Like my 180,000 mile wagon's worth $6,000 all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And people want it.
Yep.
And I get that.
Nice.
It's a nice car. I drive it here and like I drive it every other day. Like I get it. But at the same time, $6,000 if you're willing to pay it, and people are actually hitting me up saying, "Yo, I want the car." Cool, man. Come buy it. Like, you're not gonna see this for this quality of vehicle. You're not gonna see it that high ever again.
Nope. So before we wrap this up, quick, I just wanted to clarify something. Well, I just wanted to clear something up from the past episode, from last week's episode, quick, because I said that I didn't have, that sort of continuation or replica or resto mod in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we finished, it popped into my head.
You came to my room and said,
yes. As soon as we finished, it popped into my head.
My room. I know what it is.
Yeah.
You knocked on my door.
Now.
You knocked on my door. You're like, dude, I remember now what I was gonna say. I'm like, what's up? Like, what is it?
It is the Mercedes 560 SEC AMG wide body from the 80s.
We have to watch that video after this.
Dude, those cars, do you believe in love at first sight?
No.
Okay, well, I do. And as soon as I saw one of those things, I fell in love with it. Love those cars. I don't want to get into this too much. I just want to clear that up.
I think other than that car, I think the SLR is my only other car I think is really unique that Mercedes makes. Like, that's like the only car I think that is. Mercedes went over the top on the SLR.
Yeah.
And then right underneath that was that car.
Yeah, was the SECs.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous. A replica, a factory fresh one, resto mod, you take one of the, the new AMG engines, V12, throw it in there. That would be absolutely perfect.
I don't know what you're selling, but you're selling a lot of it to get that much money to afford one of those restorated like that. Like that.
Love one of those cars. Absolutely love it.
Go watch that video after this.
Okay, we'll watch that. We'll watch that video after this.
We have to.
We'll do that. So that about concludes another episode of DriveCast. Thanks for staying tuned in. Again, follow us on Facebook, I guess, at Tuned In Media. Follow us on Instagram. I'm doing terrible at this.
We say this every time. I have no idea what he's talking about because he has all the accounts.
Follow us on Instagram at tunedin_drivecast. Follow us on Twitter at _I _drivecast.
Wait, so is it Tuned In Media is the father account or the mother account for...
Yeah, Tuned In Media is
the whole.
Yeah, and then this is DriveCast is a division of Tuned In Media. Yes.
You never really explained it to me, so I really didn't know what this was called.
Yeah, website coming soon. So, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for staying tuned in, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.